But she offered a note. It says, "A note from me." This is on Heidi's Twitter page. I should alert you to these things, Belle, because I think we need some violin music behind this. But don't worry, we'll do it next time. For most of us, unless you have it, for most of us, it was a uniquely tough conclusion to a hard-fought election. That's because we're paying attention, and we know the majority just voted for continued division and chaos and a slate of hate that marginalizes and hurts so many Americans. Who? All right, I'm going to pause a couple of times during this because, one, I think it's hilarious. I really do. Two, I'm trying to break this down. I've seen a lot of this online lately, and I know that liberals are having a difficult time processing. I understand that that you can't function very well after losing. I get it. I understand how it felt when Trump lost in 2020. So I can kind of imagine what you're going through, particularly in as much as you don't really live in the real world. But that said, I've seen a lot of those. Have you seen these, Belle, on social media? You're not on Facebook. They're mostly on Facebook, where there's a rainbow flag behind the message, and the message is like, if you have an LGBTQ plus friend, please reach out to them today. They're scared. They feel helpless and hopeless, and they need your love.
Well, we've got the countdown to the LGBT massacre on the way, too.
What? Explain to me during his first term what Donald Trump did that was in any way against the LGBTQ community. Help me understand that. Donald Trump has declared that he doesn't give a rip about gay marriage. He has also said, for those of you concerned about abortion practices, that he believes and has always believed that it was a function of the states, and the states themselves make those decisions based on the will of the voters. That is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. That is what democracy looks like, you morons. I'm hearing music somewhere. Oh, it's coming out of my computer. I think I activated my computer somehow. So now I've got music going on.
I think you forget in your exuberance that democracy is great as long as you vote the way I like.
Well, that's where liberals have gotten to, obviously. But I would be really curious how Heidi would define this, as she says that we have voted for a slate of hate that marginalizes and hurts so many Americans. Like whom, please? We know that the majority voted against women and for a group of ideologues who intend to enact the policies of Project 2025. I mean, she's just bought into all of these lies. This is all nonsense. You're smarter than this, Heidi, I think. Aren't you? I heard from so many people today who are reeling from the outcome, who are sad and, frankly, terrified about what the future holds. He was president. You know what the future holds? $2.20 gasoline. Lower prices on eggs and bacon. Lower prices on other things that we buy at the grocery store. Lower prices on heating oil. Lower prices on energy. A southern border that does not allow individuals to come across it that would do damage to the American fabric and actually kill Americans. He believes in law and order. Maybe we'll have a little law and order in Nashville, Tennessee. What was the young lady at Belmont? I forget her name. I apologize. Someone in the super text line will remind me, although I just closed out the super text line accidentally. Early this morning, Heidi continues. Oh, no, she said, I heard from so many people, they're terrified about what the future holds. And despite the fact that we won the election for Senate District 20 last night and will hang on to the seat, I also woke up this morning feeling fearful and bereft. Early this morning, my husband and I stumbled into the car and drove in a dismayed stupor to get breakfast, seeking the most sane and accepting, a.k.a. MAGA-less atmosphere that we could find. Oh, my God, they're trying to subdivide the country. Where'd you go? You go to Waffle House? You can find some MAGA at Waffle House. Better not go to Cracker Barrel. I mean, the name itself implies MAGA.
Whoa.
I tell you what.
I never even considered that before. It's been right under my nose the whole time. And I think the name you were looking for was Jillian Ludwig.
Jillian Ludwig, thank you. Law and Order. I bet her family wants some of that. Anyway, Heidi continues, which is just delicious. Pop-Tarts, puppies, off-the-grid road trips to Montana, real estate in Portugal, and binging Bollywood movies were proffered, but we left with our dread intact. What? I've blocked off a few days post-election to rejuvenate, but felt too uneasy to relax, so I started sorting through the backlog of papers in my office that had accrued over the course of the election. As I was going through the bills we'd worked on, the legislation that we'd passed through committee, constituent correspondence, and seminars I'd attended, glancing over issues that had been supported by thousands of Tennesseans who deeply care about our environment, healthcare, affordability, infrastructure, education, DCS, children, mental health, disability, women's rights, immigrant rights. The dread began to dissipate. Today, nothing has changed about the amazing work that all of these people do. Well, wait a minute. I thought we were going to put all of y'all in cages. Doesn't she remember that? Anyway, she goes on to talk about all of the work that's left to be done. A note from Heidi. I sincerely would like to talk to liberals who genuinely think that this means that their rights are going to be deprived of them. And I would love for them to tell me exactly how that is. Because Donald Trump does not subscribe to Project 2025. Project 2025 was a conservative Heritage Foundation wish list, much of which I disagreed with because I'm a libertarian. I'm not a conservative. I do not believe that the conservatives should be allowed into our homes in the fashion that some would suggest they should be there. Thank you very much. But outside of that, I can't figure out for the life of me what liberals have come to believe about this president who has been president before. I would like to know. I would like to make them feel better. I would like to help them understand how much they've been misled by the likes of Heidi Campbell. Heidi Campbell is smarter than this, and she ought to be ashamed of herself. She is slinging the hits to people that actually care and matter. She's slinging the hits to people who get hurt by it. She's suggesting that if you're MAGA, you're a bad human being. That's what she said, right? That's what she said. Well, that should piss the voters off that voted for her. They still want you to believe that if you voted for Donald Trump, that makes you an evil person. And they still, some of them at least, believe that this country has decided that it wanted to vote itself out of democracy in some fashion. Sadly, leftism or statism has become a mental disorder, and we should state it clearly as such.